And what we found was a good setback. That is, the distance between the tower and where people live was 500 meters. And it's not a number we just pulled out of our heads. It's something that is based on solid research. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can do this, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about the thinking process that we went through, but you can look at epidemiological studies. And there was one wonderful study done in Brazil over a 10-year period of time with over 800 cell towers. And what they did is they looked at people who lived near those towers and found out what the health outcomes were as a function of the distance they were lived from the tower. And it was a clear indication that the closer you live to a tower, the worse your health outcomes are going to be. And so they looked at mortality as a function of distance from the tower. And the closer you got, the greater your mortality, the greater number of deaths per year. And as you got farther from the tower, that dropped off considerably. And so what we found is that, and this isn't only our finding, we were talking to experts who helped us understand and interpret the data. It looks like right around 500 meters is where there's a change in the slope of that curve being the curve of mortality as a function of distance from the tower. So right at about 500 meters, there was this break point. And so a determination that a lot of people have made, and that was that's the distance you should be from the tower. You should be 500 meters or more from the tower if you don't want to experience negative health effects as a result of living near the tower. So that's what we came up with. That's a recommendation that we're trying to put into legislation. And we're concerned we're going to get a lot of pushback from the cell companies because they don't want that. In fact, one thing to consider is that there's a lot of money at stake here. The easiest and the lowest cost way to provide coverage in an area is to go to the center of a populated area, put up your antenna, maybe put it on top of a building, and then turn up the volume, if you will, turn up the power on that transmitter until you get the desired coverage here. Well, you already have a building in place, so you don't have to put up a new tower. You don't have to lease new property. Get roads, you don't have to put in any roads to get there. So it's all set up for you. It's a very low-cost installation. Now, what makes sense for an installation is to move away from the populated areas to a remote area, put up a tall tower, and then beam the signal into the area you want to have coverage. That costs a lot more, but if you do it that way, nobody gets really high exposures like the people near the tower.